guys, it's Molly. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, which you probably are because I'm new here, I am 23 years old and I'm originally from Texas, but I've lived in New York for the past 5 years while I got my degree. I just graduated with the class of 2020 and my degree is in marketing with a minor in finance, if anyone was wondering. And today's video, I wanted to just sit down and go over some tips that I have for anyone that is going into college this year or in college in general and just looking for some more advice on how to just be a little bit more successful in your college experience, both personally and academically. So just for some background about me, I am an out-of-state student. Obviously, like I said, I am originally from Texas and I moved all the way to New York to go to school. So I had a really unique experience that I went super far away for school. And number two, I'm the first person in my nuclear family, so like mom, dad, and my little brother, to graduate from college, which is a huge accomplishment. And I know everyone in my family is so proud of me and I'm so thankful that I had their support to, accomplish this huge task. And it's honestly the greatest accomplishment of my life, and I'm so thankful that I had a family that supported me through all of that. And for those two reasons, I really had a unique experience entering college because I just didn't have a really well-rounded knowledge of exactly what college was going to look like. And so I wanted to come up with a couple of tips that I wish someone would have told me before I went away to school. And so I hope that if there's someone out there that's like me that stumbles upon this video, I hope that this kind of helps you find your footing a little better and just helps you be super successful, because I want to see all of you guys succeed and do well in school. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So my first tip is to get involved. I spent my first 2 years of school not involved at all, and I'm really lucky because I spent 5 years in school. I got to do a victory lap, and I'll explain why a little later. But I spent the first 2 years of my college experience not involved at all. And by the time I graduated, I was in student government, I was the president of our performing arts club, I was an RA, I was a student ambassador, orientation leader, I facilitated a grant for our college's campus. I did literally so much at my college, and I'm so thankful that I had those experiences. Getting involved allows you to have hobbies outside of the classroom and invest in your interests outside of the classroom. College is not just about the curriculum that you're learning, it's also about learning about yourself and finding people that have similar interests as you. And by getting involved in clubs or organizations on campus that reflect those interests, you can find people that are, going to be lifelong friends that have the same interests as you and can support you in those hobbies and interests, because you're more than just the work that you're doing in the classroom. You are also a human with so many different, sides and facets to you, and it's important to invest in all of those things, even if they're not your major. So definitely get involved is my first tip. My second tip is to take your grades and classes seriously, especially freshman year. I wish that somebody would have drilled this into my brain freshman year, because your first semester freshman year sets the tone for the rest of college. And of course, if you don't do well your first semester of freshman year, that's totally understandable. It's a tough transitioning into college, and if you're going away to school, that's an even tougher transition. So I totally understand if the first semester of freshman year didn't look necessarily what you wanted it to look like, but if you can, with everything that you have in you, just take it seriously and invest time and energy in your classes and your grades, because it really sets the tone for the rest of college. I definitely did not take my classes seriously freshman year, and by the time that I got older and really started taking my grades seriously and what I was learning in the classroom seriously, I had a lot of catching up to do, and I had a lot of like repairing to do to my GPA, and I ended up graduating with a great GPA at a 3.5. I made the dean's list a couple of times. Like, I'm very thankful that I ended up really taking my grades seriously by the end of that time, but I really wish that somebody had just kind of drilled into me and held me more accountable for taking my grades more seriously freshman year specifically. And a great way to hold yourself accountable if you know that maybe school isn't the easiest for you sometimes, or making that big transition isn't going to be the easiest for you, is to make friends in your classes and form study groups. Because if you don't understand something, maybe someone else in your study group will, and you guys can, you know, be mutually beneficial to each other and help each other out so that you can all be successful. Well, my third tip is to try to build relationships with your professors and your administrators. I went to a really small college, and for that reason I'm so lucky, because forming relationships with my professors and administrators was actually quite easy because my class sizes were small. And I know that many of you that go to larger colleges and institutions, you're dealing with larger class sizes, and so it's harder to form those relationships. But at the end of the day, professors and administrators on your college campus have so much knowledge to offer you. First of all, those people have so much wisdom. They've seen so many students come through their doors, and they're going to be able to offer you great advice, both personally and professionally, whenever you're looking for jobs in the future. And speaking on jobs, they're going to have a lot of connections for you, and they're going to be able to write references for you and things like that. And employers look for things like that. So you want to make those relationships with them and just try to learn from them, because they have so much to offer you if you go out and you seek to invest in those relationships. And I definitely spent the last 3 years of my college experience really working on setting aside time to, you know, speak to my administrators that I looked up to and found to be mentors for me. I definitely recommend just going out of your way to form relationships with your professors and your administrators on campus. So my fourth tip, I think we're on the fourth. My fourth tip is to not let yourself get stuck. People change. Majors change, interests change. You are not required to be one thing throughout college. You can be anything you want, and you're paying to go to college. So you might as well invest in something that you're actually interested in. And if you go in interested in one thing and then you decide to change course in the middle of it, that's okay, because you're paying to be there and college is at your own pace. So for me, I moved to New York to be a musical theater major, and I was originally in my school's BFA theater arts program. So I was, you know, acting, singing, dancing every single day, and I was going to be, you know, majoring in theater and get my degree in theater. And 2 years in, I just realized that that was no longer for me. I realized that as much as I loved theater and I loved doing it, I didn't think that I could handle the lack of stability that that lifestyle offers. And I totally applaud my classmates that were able to stick with it, because it was such a challenging major. It was so much work, and you know, they really do work so hard to prepare you for that life. And I just realized that that was not a life that I was going to be able to handle personally. So I changed my major to marketing because I really loved social media, and I knew that I could take those marketing skills and apply them to a social media marketing job one day. I just think that it's okay to change your major. It's okay if you decide that you're not interested in the things that you were originally interested in. That's what college is about, finding your interests, finding yourself. And if it changes, then it changes. Follow your heart, and there's no one right way to do things. So don't let yourself get stuck. My fifth tip is to be a sponge. And I love this phrase. I say it all the time. And everybody always looks at me like, what the heck are you talking about? But what I mean by be a sponge is to soak it all up. Because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You're never gonna get these moments back. College is a very short, your undergrad career at least is a very short 4 years if you're on a traditional track. And I just think that more than anything, you just have to stay present and just enjoy every moment of it. And this is something that I wish I had done more of, especially with my senior year getting cut short due to the pandemic. If you take anything away from this video, it's this one. Be a sponge, soak it all up. You never know when it could all go away. So enjoy every moment of it and just be a sponge. And the way to do all of that is by doing the things that I said before, like getting involved and finding your interests and hobbies and investing in relationships and doing well in the classroom and not letting yourself get stuck and just letting yourself be who you are. And that kind of leads me into my final tip, which is to be yourself. College is so different from high school. In high school, I know you probably were so worried about who the cool kids were and who the jocks were and who the theater geeks were. I was a theater geek, so I'll claim it. But all of those things, like, they don't matter in college. And so if it's your first year of college and you're going into it thinking like, oh, well, I'm a jock and I play a sport, so I can only be friends with people that play sports. Like, no, just be yourself. If you play sports but you're also interested in doing photography, then join your school's media group and say to heck with stereotypes. If you are a theater major but you're also super interested in making an impact on your college's campus, then join student government and say to heck with stereotypes. There are so many different ways that you can be yourself and explore yourself and just be who you are, and nobody is going to care. People just want you to be yourself so that you can find lasting positive relationships. And I think that in college, you really find people that you can maintain meaningful connections with. I think that happens a little bit less so in high school, just because you're so young and you really don't know who you are yet in high school, at least for me. And this is just me speaking from personal experience. I can't speak for anyone else, but I personally didn't know who I was yet in high school, and in college I really found people that I could form meaningful relationships with and people that have made such an impact on my life. And that's because I wasn't scared to be myself, and I stepped out of my comfort zone and I did a million new things that I probably never would have done if I had been worried about stereotypes or worried about what other people thought. And so, yeah, just be yourself, because that's all people want from you. That is my tips for college. If you have any other tips that you'd like to share, make sure to leave them in the comments down below. And yeah, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that there is someone out there that benefits from hearing all of this stuff that I had to share and all of the stuff that I learned and had to grow to learn in college. So I hope that you guys have a great day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.